Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast, where we discuss industry best practices, celebrate big wins, and share stories about Alsco's growth journey. So, Jacob Milford, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Okay. Having a great meeting in Salt Lake.
So. Yes, that's right. So we're here in Salt Lake City at Little America for the National Sales Meeting and kind of hearing a lot of really great presentations.
That's right.
Wanted to spend a little bit of time with you because you're a fairly newly minted National Sales Manager for Region 6,
That's
right?
Correct.
Okay, so kind of all up and down the Mid-Atlantic, but now reaching into the Northeast quite a bit.
North Carolina to Boston, over to Rochester and back down.
Okay.
So pretty big footprint there. So.
Yeah, and I can tell from your accent, and we were just talking, that you're a Southern boy at heart.
Yep.
So now you are embracing the Northeast, or I hope you're embracing the Northeast.
It's a new challenge. Not used to snow, and
right.
I was kind of excited about going up there in the first place because I thought it was gonna be cooler in the summer, and I realized it is just as hot. Right.
Oh my gosh, it's humid anyway, right?
Yeah.
So when did you become National Sales Manager?
So I started January 1st.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. So been with Alsco for 14 years. It all started in Atlanta, Georgia, as a sales consultant. I did that for 5 years. Then I moved into a leadership role. So I pretty much managed most of the branches throughout the Southeast, and then just moved into the national leadership role.
Okay, so from sales consultant to regional sales manager and now NSM.
Yep.
So what did you do prior to Alsco?
I was in the food and beverage industry.
Okay.
So I worked at a lot of restaurants. Worked in a resort down in Turks and Caicos for a couple of years.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so I did that for about 12 years and decided that I wanted to try something else. So one of my good friends got me into Alsco, and I've been here ever since. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a friend that worked at Alsco? That's how you, okay. I love to hear origin stories. Yeah. That's why I'm asking.
I grew up with Ben Terrell.
Oh, yeah.
You might know Ben.
Okay,
so we've been best friends for a long time, and he got me my first interview in Atlanta, and I've been there ever since.
Oh,
so.
Fabulous.
Yep.
All right. So when you moved from SC to RSM, and our sales organization was even at that point much smaller than it is today, so I'm sure even though the titles of those jobs are the same today as they were back then, the job has kind of changed. But what was it like going from SC to RSM, kind of that first
we used to have a lot bigger
role.
Teams, a lot bigger territories. So I managed Atlanta to Shreveport to Jacksonville to Charleston. We would have 21 or 22 sales consultants at the time. Whew. So you learned a lot. You learned fast. You had to find some great leaders on your sales team to help you manage all that, right?
Yeah.
So, but it was a great challenge. The good thing about Alsco is they teach you to lead, and you get to learn a lot about yourself. So.
Had you managed people prior to that when you were in food and beverage?
Okay. Yeah, so food and beverage, that's what I did mostly.
Okay, and that was probably a whole different ball game of the...
It has a lot of the same challenges.
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine so.
This one's a little bit more secure, I guess, of attaining people and holding on to people. So.
Right. And having them really perform on a consistent basis at a different level. So it's just a different dance, perhaps.
Sure.
So then moving from, how long were you an RSM?
So I did about 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've worked at probably 14 different branches as the sales leader there. And then, like I said, moving into the Northeast is completely new to me.
Right. So now as an NSM, that's it's still sales management, of course, but instead of managing directly the sales consultants, you're managing managers, which is a different level again. Yeah. What kind of attracted you to the role, and how did you think you'd be able to make a contribution?
I've just always been, in my opinion, a great leader. I've been in their footsteps before, so I can show them how to perform and where they could get better. So it's always attracted me. I love helping people, right? So. And Alsco gives me a job to do it in several different roles, obviously.
Yeah. So how many RSMs do you have?
I have 8.
Right. You have 8.
Right.
And how many of them were your hires versus people that you?
So I've mentored 2 people, Chris Luck and Jason Barks. I brought on, but like I said, I've only been here for the 6 or 7 months. So far, those 2, they used to be SCs on my team out of North Carolina, and they're off to a great start.
Oh, good.
So. But right now we have everybody in place and doing well.
So what do you look for when you're hiring regional sales managers? What kind of lets you know they might be successful?
Obviously, high energy, coaching ability, persistence, patience. It's all important. So every day you wake up at 8 a.m. with a plan, and at 8:05 you got to adjust.
Right. You're like, that was a good idea.
Yeah. But it's there's a lot of moving pieces with the sales portion of Alsco. So you got to have people that can handle pressure, and then coach at the same time.
So if you took on your new role in January, we acquired Churchill, which is the northeast portion we were talking about, Brockton, Stratford, and Hyannis, in September. So they were very early in their, and they still are really early in their Alsco journey. But what did you, when you were kind of strategizing and maybe working with Tim Jones about what do we need to do in this area, what were you all kind of seeing about how we can capture more of that market? Well, a market too where Alsco is like, who's Alsco?
Exactly.
Like no brand presence.
We definitely arrived in New England. Obviously, with the Churchill acquisition, we had a pretty good footprint in food and beverage. So, really our focus is just getting out, letting people know that we can help them with healthcare and industrial uniforms, facility services, and that's what we've been focused on. We've already built a great sales team there. We've got great sales leadership there already. Our sales team is going to continue to expand the rest of the year, and we've also really made a mark in healthcare so far. So
that's great.
That's where we're going to start. Industrial uniforms is our next step, but obviously with any new acquisition that's completely food and beverage, you got to get set up so you can be successful.
Right. Both your mind set up as well as physically being capable of servicing those things properly. Yep. So what kinds of opportunities are you seeing in that market other than, obviously the target market, but are we doubling a sales force? How are we going to kind of grow into that?
So far we've got, between, Stratford, Brockton, and Hyannis, we have 7 sales consultants.
Okay.
We're going to go to 10 by the end of this year.
I think we started with 2, so that's it, yeah.
John Kirkner, who was the sales manager up there, he's really brought on some great people, great sales managers, so he's kind of led the way and helped us to grow all of that. So we'll be at 10 by the end of this year. I'm sure we'll probably go to 10 in Boston when it's all said and done, right? So I think we have some 5S.
It would seem we could easily do 10 in the Boston metro area at some point. Yeah.
And I think, if we can get into Vermont and Maine, I mean, we get calls from Vermont all the time now, right? So the possibilities are endless. We're excited just to see what's going to happen next, and I don't even think we've gotten our feet wet there yet. So.
Yeah. And then if we move over to Pennsylvania, so we had in February we closed on an acquisition in Allentown, Bethlehem border there in Pennsylvania. Yep. What is your strategy for growing that market?
Well, the good thing about it, MacIntosh and Jim Rogers, this thing is turnkey. I mean, Jim's great. We've already put 2 sales consultants there now. We're going to carve off a piece of New Jersey and add that to Allentown. So we'll be going to 4 SCs by the end of the year, in Allentown, and then our hopes and dreams are expansion out to Pittsburgh, right?
Okay, great.
But that's the plan for now. We've already got 2 in place now. We're about to hire 2 more. So.
And that area is not, while Alsco didn't directly serve that area, we kind of tangentially served that area through the Wilmington branch, and so Wilmington, Delaware. So there's more synergies there, I would say, than maybe what we had with the Churchill acquisition.
There is.
So we should be able to run further, faster, I would imagine.
It feels like MacIntosh has been a part of Alsco for 40 years, right? So when you're there.
It was an easy cultural fit, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been spending probably a inordinate amount of time or a disproportionate amount of time on those new acquisitions. But what about the rest of the area that you cover?
So, really.
Do you remember how to get back to back to Georgia at this point?
The great thing about where I live, I got direct flights to all these branches almost, right? So, I spent a lot of time in North Carolina as a regional sales manager. So, I've got my finger on the pulse there of what's happening. We're doing great throughout North and South Carolina. Our biggest opportunities are, out of Baltimore and D.C. to grow target market business, right? So we're focused there. We're trying to grow more target market business in Virginia Beach just to offset that seasonal portion that we deal with on a yearly basis. But Wilmington is doing well. And like I said, so, if we can get into the city, New York eventually, coming out of Stratford, maybe coming up through Allentown, but Rochester, a lot of big accounts are going there. Seneca's gone through there. We're about to install Cayuga Healthcare, which is, a $17,000 a week account. So everybody's heading in the right direction. The biggest thing we've got to fix is target market. Our biggest opportunity is target market.
Right. And so if you look, it sounds like in Rochester you had a big win in the first half of the year that with the healthcare opportunity. Any other big wins that you want to talk about, and then what you're hopeful for the last part
We've got
of the
some
year?
things working. We're going to keep them a secret for a little bit longer.
Come on.
Because we don't want to get them out of the bag. So.
No, of course not. But more in target market, I assume that's kind of where you're focusing.
Yeah, so we've got some large hospital accounts out of North Carolina that'll stretch into Virginia. We have some senior living opportunities that are coming up for the New England area as well. And then we're looking at a couple of different larger industrial accounts that'll spread across all of Region 6.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
That Cheryl's working on now.
Yeah.
But it's with healthcare and industrial uniforms, it's always a process.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a lot of optimism then about the remainder of the year and even what is behind you now. Is that fair?
When you look at the Region 6 team, it's a very young team because this is where it expanded the most in the past 2 years, right? So, our focus is just retention, doing a lot of training and coaching and growing these sales reps so they can be successful. So. The rest of the year, Q3, we've already projected better numbers than we did for Q2, and then we'll have a pretty good idea in about a month or so where we're going to land for Q4. But, our biggest opportunity there is figuring out Q1. That's when the weather hits and everything kind of slows down. So we're already talking about how we're going to make a couple of different plans starting in November and December to grow our Q1 for next year.
Yeah,
so.
that sounds right? Because I think we're so... You've got a calendar year kind of stuck in your head, and then we're going to go into budgeting season as well. And so where you're starting to think about the next year, but that's different than planning for the next year, right? And you guys probably at December, someone even said in one of the meetings today that if you drain your entire sales bucket in order to finish a year great, intellectually, I understand why you might do that, but you've got to be filling at the same or better rate than you're draining. Otherwise, there's going to be a desert somewhere.
The way we look at numbers, you got to start out fast.
Yes.
So Q1 is extremely important, and we didn't have the best Q1 this year, and a lot of it was weather related. So we're gonna make sure that we've done everything we can to fix that going into 2026.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and when some of those areas are so heavily focused on food and beverage, there's seasonality associated with that, outdoor eating events and things like that. But also, even when there's just bad weather and I could sit inside and go to a restaurant, sometimes I just want to sit inside at home, right? So we're trying to counterbalance that with businesses like Target Market that they kind of have to run all year long, no matter what.
That's the focus on our weekly meetings. No 0 weeks, target market growth, retention, and just training, right? So we've got a young team. We got to get them where they can be successful. So.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about training for a second. So how do you can take kind of what I'd call a seasoned salesperson, and in theory, they can sell anything, but they still have to know what the thing is, right? And we're selling a service, not a product, which is a little bit of a mind shift for some people, depending on where they've come from. So how are you approaching training in your region?
Well, we work a lot with our corporate sales teams. Healthcare and industrial teams work closely with our vendors. We have trainings every week as far as how to answer certain questions or look for pain and so forth. So there's a lot of different scenarios when it comes to that we put in place. This is on a weekly basis. So usually our teams are having Friday 8 a.m. calls where they're doing some sort of training, whether it be Salesforce
or a product or
FR garments or whatnot, right? So but after a while you really only sell about 50 or 60 different products, so you get pretty good at it.
Right.
Really, it's just asking the right questions, talking to the right people, and just finding that pain and solving a problem for the customer.
Right.
So.
And being curious, I would imagine too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're curious, you're naturally going to ask a lot of questions. That's what I do when I sit here and talking to you, right?
Right.
And then that can help you get to that pain point faster, what friction they're having in their business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exciting. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what happens not only in the acquired branches, but obviously across the entire region.
Yeah, we're off to a great start, and we're going to finish strong for 2025, get ready for 2026.
Okay, we heard it here first.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast and Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.